Hi everyone and welcome to week 5 in Bio 1000. This week we'll be studying the amazing process of photosynthesis. The chapter 5 content page includes some learning objectives about photosynthesis, some terms to know. If you don't know any of these terms, I recommend that you make flashcards and study those flashcards. It has an overview, a little equation, and then an overview video kind of about the big picture of photosynthesis, and then more details about the two parts, the light reactions and the Calvin cycle. So this is a great tool to use as you move through chapter 5 in our textbook. This week, our discussion is going to be about photosynthesis and climate change. So photosynthesis is a major part of the carbon cycle, and climate change is something that could impact and is impacting the rates of photosynthesis worldwide. It's also interesting just the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, since carbon dioxide is a reactant to photosynthesis, is impacting the photosynthetic rates. So there's a lot of connections between climate change and photosynthesis, even just changing weather and both the moisture and heat can impact photosynthesis. So I want you to educate yourself about some ways these two things are related and make an initial post that addresses these 4 points. So I want you to explain why photosynthesis in an ecosystem or a human system like a farm is important to humans and other organisms. I want you to hone in on one aspect of changing climate and explain how this change may impact photosynthetic rates. This is due, your initial post is due by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. Come back to this discussion later in the week after your peers have posted and make some responses to your peers. So I'm asking you to respond to at least 2 of your peers. This is due by Saturday at the end of the day. In the photosynthesis lab, you are going to do a photosynthesis simulation where you are going to just kind of manipulate some of the components of photosynthesis. So this simulation is going to give you an opportunity to submit your score to me. You can do that by putting my email in there and then checking it, and then it's going to have you submit. So this will come directly to me, or you can take a screenshot and turn that in with your lab materials. So there's 2 different ways you can go about finishing this up. The other component of this week's lab is I'm asking you to fill out a data table where you're going to collect data by watching this video. So in this video, I'm going to expose a plant to dark conditions, have a plant exposed to light conditions, and then have a control which has no plant. I'm going to measure the dissolved oxygen using this oxygen meter that you can see in the back. And that's what you're going to be writing down in this table. So the initial dissolved oxygen levels of the water in the test tubes, the levels after 60 minutes, and then the levels after 120 minutes for all 3 of the different test tubes. So this is an interesting experiment because remember, cellular respiration takes up oxygen, whereas the light reactions of photosynthesis make oxygen. So I'm hoping that by analyzing these results, you'll be able to use your understanding of cellular respiration, which we talked about last week, and photosynthesis to explain what you find here. So after you watch the video, you're going to calculate averages, put those averages in the last row of this table, and then answer these questions about what you saw and the data that are in your table. The last thing here is a photosynthesis study table where I'm asking you to write down the cellular location and the inputs and the outputs for the two parts of photosynthesis, the light-dependent reactions and the Calvin cycle. This time we have a word bank, which hopefully makes it a little easier to fill out the table. You'll turn all of this in on the assignment page in Canvas. Next, like usual, I've got a practice quiz to help you get ready for the 10-point Chapter 5 graded quiz. There's a couple extra things in this module because in week 6, you're going to take your first unit quiz. So one thing that's in here is a study guide to help you get ready for the Unit 1 quiz. The Unit 1 quiz is going to be available from Sunday through Wednesday of week 6. So we're in week 5 currently, so you have at least a week to go through this study guide and make sure you're prepared. There's a little information about proctoring. Our unit quiz is going to be proctored using HonorLock. This is a closed book, closed note quiz. So HonorLock is going to lock down your browser, record your screen and also audio, and it's going to record you through your webcam so that the HonorLock Live proctors can ensure that you are not using any print or digital support resources during that quiz. So I do have a tool in this week's module, I'll show you that in a second, to make sure you're ready to use HonorLock. But this is mostly about getting you ready intellectually to do really well on that quiz. So these are my recommended tips on how to prepare. Study your flashcards, review the concepts or the learning objectives that were at the beginning of each module. Those are pasted below. Review the study tables that you've made as part of each lab. All of the short answer questions. So this quiz is going to be 50% multiple choice, 50% short answer questions. All of the short answer questions where you'll be asked to just type a response come right from those study tables, information that should be in those study tables. So review your study tables, practice your, review your old graded quizzes. You can retake the old practice quizzes. And I'll have an optional discussion available where you can ask questions for me and for the whole class. So these are just the learning objectives. You've seen these already. These were on the first tab of the content page for the first 5 chapters in our textbook. So again, our unit quiz is coming up. It's not until week 6, but I wanted you to give some time with this study guide. It's going to be 50% multiple choice, 50% short answer questions, covering chapters 1 through, is it 5 or 6? 1 through 5, and it is going to be proctored using HonorLock. So another thing that we have that's unique in the week 5 module is your Unit 1 e-portfolio. So all along when you've been creating these study tables, I've been telling you about this extra credit opportunity. This is a optional activity that you can undertake where you create a Canvas e-portfolio. There's more information about e-portfolios in Canvas on this page that just kind of highlights some of this work that you've already done and puts it in one place so that you're organized and ready to study these study tables. So you'll get them all in the same place and have them all displayed nicely in a Canvas e-portfolio. So this is worth 5 points extra credit, a maximum of 5 points extra credit. Here's that HonorLock practice quiz. that I mentioned. So with HonorLock, you need to be using Google Chrome. You need to download their extension. They make it pretty easy for you. If you ever get into any trouble or are having technical issues and you're in the HonorLock setting, you should use their chat window. They're usually pretty helpful at walking you through it. These are the settings that you can expect to have in your testing environment. It's going to be recording your webcam, your screen, your web traffic, your test taker ID. So it's going to ask you to hold up an ID. It's going to take your photo. It's going to disable your ability to copy, paste, print. It's going to limit your browser to the screen where you're taking the assessment in Canvas. And then it's going to be monitoring you. It knows that it's not an open book. No notes are allowed, no calculators. I did say hats were allowed. We all have bad hair days. So that's okay. But try to be in an area that's private and doesn't have a lot of noise. Mobile phones are not allowed. So that's what you can expect in this practice quiz environment, so you can get used to that. That's also the same exact settings that I'll use in the unit quizzes and in the optional final exam in this class. So this is not a 4-point quiz, it's a 0-point quiz. It's really just here to get you used to the testing environment. So back to this landing page, we're studying the week 5 content in the first part of this module. And then I've got some tools in here related to this unit quiz, which is going to be due Wednesday of week 6 in the week 5 module as well. As always, please reach out if you have any questions.